Hello, fellow traders. Mark Abramsky from Forex Undressed. Just giving you a rundown of this week's 23rd to the 28th Singapore time here. In Eastern and in General Mountain, you guys can just flip it over here. You see the filter here. You can figure that out in your time too. Nothing much for the first Monday really has no news. It's all about the euro and the US dollar pretty much this week. The euro will move down, the US dollar will move up, and there's no news really to stop that from happening. Around 7:50 to 9 Tuesday morning, we do get a bit of the Japanese, US dollar, Japanese yen, potential news around the Bank of Japan and the BOJ Governor Kuroda here, meeting of the minutes at 7:50 and 9. Governor Kuroda speaks, so once again, expect them to be sort of meditating a little bit that the yen is appreciating too fast. Doesn't matter. It's still going to 120. So even if it manages to move down to 116, still buying opportunity. So moving along here, we don't have much until the U.S. gross domestic product comes out. It might print slightly higher than this, okay? Once again, accelerating the U.S. dollar to the upside around 9:30 or so on Tuesday. Tuesday, of course, is the 25th. And then not much happens until we come down here to the consumer conference at 11 o'clock on Tuesday. And once again, going to print as expected, maybe slightly below. Once again, it's even though it's a high impact event, it's not a major event. It's not going to influence the trend of the US dollar at the moment. So going to Wednesday the 26th, we see the pound with the gross domestic product, the UK. That should print as expected, maybe even a teeny bit above. Once again, not going to be enough really to do much to the pound. It'll still stay sort of sideways, range bound, just slightly higher. And then we come down to the U.S. durable goods orders, slightly lower right now than I would expect, maybe a little bit higher than this. So expect that to be a bit of a surprise at around, once again, 9:30 or so, which is 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And that should once again accelerate the U.S. dollar to the upside. Like I say, nothing here to stop the dollar from moving up. The initial jobless claim. None of these particular prints are great, but once again, they'll come in as expected. We've changed as far as our outlook on the news anyway over the last 6 years or so, where you're just sort of looking at better than expected numbers. That's all. These aren't necessarily good, but better than expected. So they will probably print as expected or slightly better. Thursday, November 27th, we have the euro, the German unemployment change. May print slightly worse than it's expected on both of these here. -1 to 6.7, may inch up to 6.8, and maybe -5, maybe -10. Once again, more of an acceleration of the euro to the downside. Um, Going to the Euro German Consumer Price Index, once again, more deflationary pressures in the Eurozone right now, so this might print as expected or slightly below. Euro German Consumer Price Index year over year, once again, may print a little lower than that. They're having a big time and a big problem, keeping prices, stable or out of the deflationary zones here because of the euro. Friday, the 28th, Japanese National Consumer Price Index should print as expected, maybe slightly below. Nothing too surprising there. And as we go down to the last events of the week, we see Euro Consumer Price Index once again, maybe slightly lower than expected here. But the Canadian, I think, is where the big miss is going to be here. They're only projecting 2.1 GDP from 3.1 the previous month, or the previous quarter. I think it's going to be slightly higher from the inflationary numbers that I see coming out over the last little while around the Canadian economy. Look for around 3, maybe even 3.2. So that's going to be a miss. So certainly probably, we're going to buy into the strength of the Canadian around that, I would think. So anyway, once again, theme of the week is US dollar strength, euro weakness, uh, the US dollar Japanese yen sideways to up, and of course the Canadian strengthening. That's it for this news edition. See you on Monday, fellow traders.